Well, hello people, and welcome back to episode 4 of Illium. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Western side of Francis, tied together really nicely last episode, as this pedestrian waterfront gets even busier. As we approach to 7,000 people now. Very close to unlocking trains and monorail at 8,000 of course, which will be a key bit of our infrastructure I think as the city grows. However, we've got massive industrial demand after all these new people last episode, so it's time to finish the forestry that is currently supplying the port of Francis. And this time we have some mods to play with. We'll also use some of the base game forestry with the mods at hand today as well. Happy Monday everyone. Let's play some Cities 1, shall we? So with the forestry last episode, we placed down a very basic selection of resources here, which will obviously reposition. So during the time that's gone since episode 2, it's ticked up to level 2 itself and gone to 10,000 resources, which is nice. And we'll start with some tree sapling fields, I think, to replace what we just deleted. In terms of where this is going to go up to, I think basically have it all along here, I think, right? So let's have lots of these side to side. And then I'd like to take the angle of the forestry with the slip ramp too here, I think. So let's bring that straight across. We'll go with anarchy on so we don't get the little bend in the road. Something like that should be nice. And then we'll continue the angle this way as well. Now once these assets are placed, you can actually use your soften brush on vanilla and modded. And they will conform with the terrain. Which is what allows you to create kind of a vineyard aesthetic. Which is what we did with Thessia's forestry if you're interested. I think I do like little greenhouses. I'm also noticing the trees are popping through as well. We'll fix that in a second. Now this is a great example of how we can use the intersection marking tool fence mode. Let's create an intersection on the highway. And then we'll come into it. Let's create ourselves a little stretch of decorative network. And we'll do forestry fence of course. Scroll it off so it's not in the middle of the road. Let's put it basically on the edge of the sand of the highway. And then come up with the 3 dots here, and then apply between intersections. And that'll take it all the way down there. And we'll scroll that off. And then we can do the same thing here again. Apply it between our intersections. And I guess we also want it there as well, don't we? Let's copy that. And then paste it into that hole. So no nodes used, and quite a lot of fencing. But I don't know why I enjoy it so much, you know. We've done this in so many cities. Forestry right by the highway. Especially the little sapling fields. I think it's just a great visual, isn't it? Let's do it that will make them complain of no resource though, which I'm not sure how we're going to handle that. I need the trees to be under the building. So that'll be a tree anarchy setting where I need to adjust. I'll do that later. That's a job for detail and egg. Let's just give them a splatter of bush so they function in the meantime. And then I want more sapling fields in this area as well, I think. Because we'll unlock the medium tree plantations at 3, which I think are the ones I'm going to have on the hills here in quite obvious planted blocks. In terms of storage, because the port is right nearby and it's using basically all the stored wood here, I don't think we'll put any storage over this way. We will have some processing, but I think I'm going to wait for the larger stuff, which will be engineered wood plant and the pulp mill at 4 and 5. That's the plan with it anyway. So that should be lots more sapling field aesthetic. Cool. So big plantations of trees here. I think we could possibly even welcome a little nature reserve pathway here with the wonders of anarchy. Keep that running through the middle. And at night time that should have a little light on it. That'll just cut through these little sapling fields, right? Doesn't that add so much? That's so subtle, but really like that. Could do that in vanilla as well, of course. You just have to be much more specific with your measurement. Yeah, but we can still do it, no problem. Let's give them a little splash, just like always. So I mentioned using the base game forestry stuff. So this is this zone in here. Your absolute base game industry specialization. This one. So it's still really important for the production chains here as well. away from the expanded production chains that the industry's DLC provides you. So let's create a little complex out here. We're going to place a couple of these sawmill looking buildings. One of those. And now there's a bunch of buildings that are basically props, which are the ones that I want. I'll place quite a few of them down. We'll also have one of those. And not one of those. Let's have another one of them. Cool. So this is all quite close to road network, so we shouldn't need to worry too much about building spawn points. But if they start to complain, we know that it's an issue. Push that up onto the side there. Of course, all this is functional industry for us here. But it's going to be looking so much more interesting than just the zoned vanilla stuff, you know. And I think we'll get rid of all the concrete as well. So with these assets here, which again are all functional buildings, you know, if we click on these crates and pile of wood employ 2 people. So it's quite the task at hand. Then just a little bit of rotation, just so it looks like all this stuff is being stored here. To be processed at this mill. That one might be a little stuck there, but what we will do is just help it out with spawn points. Just to make sure. Everything else here should be okay. Maybe that one as well. Okay. So we've got a ton of industry here. That's all producing base game stuff for us. And then we'll paint this out with our gravel. Is this gravel or sand? It's gravel, isn't it? Yeah, it is gravel. All the way through here. Don't really want any concrete there. We will around the port mills and stuff, but not here. And then even some trees, I think, kind of maybe still remnants from the natural forest. Still standing maybe just in the courtyard. Out here maybe a little cluster of rocks and some happier overgrowth around the bottom. A couple of bushes in there as well maybe. Some long grass perhaps. Bit of lantana. And then let's grab a little bit of forestry fence here. And then we'll just fence off that corner. So really fun ways we can just have a lot more fun. So even though this looks like props, of course, like it's a process, granted they're not very organised. They're not keeping it together, are they? But it's all functional buildings and it's business that's contributing to the production chain for us. Which is very nice indeed. I did see some traffic rising here. Are we okay? Possibly due maybe an extra lane here, aren't we? I'm going to one more lane it, bro. Hierarchy, please brace yourselves. See how that performs. Should just allow people that'll turn into get there a bit quicker. It's not going to handle much more, is it? But of course we will have further interchanges down here. What I wouldn't mind doing actually is maybe having a little industrial access road. We've got the layers to play with here because of the layer of the highway. We should be okay to hit next level here now, shouldn't we? I think we just want a few more processing buildings. I think I wouldn't mind a biomass plant here, I don't think. I only have to push some of this terrain back. Because it is going to be quite the forestry build here. We are going to use this hillside, but I need a bit of room. Let's just get more workers in. Let's have... I think I have a biomass plant here. And again, a little bit of surface painter. Just to kind of pull it into that same campus there, right? You can even bob those parking spaces off there, but I'm not massively averse, to be honest. Move this tree a bit as well. But yeah, as a potential bit of extra relief here, I wouldn't mind like a forestry only road, kind of like, you know, like you drive past it and it's like, you know, this is industrial access, there's no public right of way, etc. So let's set up a bridge for that. We could go from here. But what I'm doing here is just isolating a segment or two from the highway. We use our road tools to force into elevation via upgrade, thus turning this into a bridge. And then I reckon we'll just grab the same terrain layer we have at the road here. That should probably clear it. I'll describe to everyone how amazing that is to do. After 6 years, basically doing it vanilla. Just want this bit to be a road, or a bridge rather. Thank you very much. Super. So I reckon we'll do a few more forestry plantations here. Let's have that run up to that way. And then this road, we'll just soften it out as it comes in. And then this can just be that cheeky little access road that swoops under the highway. And then into there, but not as a very small bridge segment. Go. And then what we will do is create another junction. And then from there, and then I'll also add that forestry fence here as well between all intersections. Cool. And maybe even, we probably don't have it yet, do we? Because we don't have nature reserve. Yeah, we do have the signs. Just a tiny sign. Almost to indicate like, yo, this is industrial access. This isn't a public right of way. You also put a security gate there too. Might actually not be a bad shout. Maybe we can actually get one of the vanilla gates, possibly. Maybe if we have it there, we'll just grab that sign to come to the front a little bit. We're getting lost in the details here, everyone. Bear with me. It'll be worth it. And then that same industrial fence that matches with that gate. Something to that effect. It's a small detail, but you know, it's little bits like this that really make a city. You'll stumble across this after 100 hours and then just remember what it is. Okay, and already it's being used, which is great, isn't it? Get some overgrowth and possible further fencing around the bottom of that as well. But otherwise, oh, is that it? That was it. I was literally just about to say, I'll see you at level 3. And I was like, the words left my mouth, upgraded. Perfect. It's fixed, right? It's fixed for the content creators. But now we have those medium tree plantations unlocked. Let's begin to create our treed hillside. So we'll pick out a layer. And I think that looks mostly about right, I think. We use this road as a general guideline, so we know we're in line with the grid. And then let's just try this aesthetic out. We'll go for the large tree plantations are a little bit too square for what I'm after here. I think I'm going to stick with these. Now I wonder, will Bob work on you? We'll recruit Bob. Nah, no trees found. On no sub-buildings. Oh no, there we go. Okay. So maybe we can change these out for... Silver birch is a little strange, isn't it? Spruce. We have a lot of spruce plantation near where I live. I think maybe we'll go with Norway spruce instead then. Okay. I'm happy with that. And then we'll do a few of these. And that should carry it over. Yes, it should. And then we could even go just back to back on them. And then we can run this in as many blocks as we like all the way up the hill. And then what I'm planning here is to have the larger industrial pulp mill facility occupy this space at the entrance to the main yard, okay? With production off to the side. So it's the beach visual that has the now Norway spruce on top of it for us. We don't need to worry too much about the tree resource on these. The build guide overgrown brush will hide it more than enough. So I'd love to use the forestry workers barracks in this particular instance. So let's find a road for this. Somewhere like there. I'm probably going to do a fair bit of move it finagling with this one. You know what, actually? Can I feed a road down to you and maintain a connection? Yes, we can. Set him to the same height as the node around. That should correct any janky terrain. I think that's a pretty impressive sightline, isn't it? Almost like, you know, like this is actual functioning workers' barracks. The people are working these larger tree plantations out here rather than having to go back down to the main site, you know. I think I can get on board with that. And then I think with a small tree plantation might fill this one nicely. Let's have a little bring out of the road. We'll box this off as well, giving quite a harsh boundary to the forestry area. I think want it to look quite man-made on the hillside. And then we can do that with 2. We'll set everyone to beach, and then we'll do the same thing again here with Bob. Let's set you to Norway spruce. A little bit of forest brush underneath them. Everyone's happy? Yes, they are. Then I'll do that same thing again on this side. There's also a bit of oil on the hillside there. Have we ever tried a forestry oil combination before? I don't think we have we? Super. And then I guess it makes sense to actually just keep pushing that out a touch further, doesn't it? Complete this pattern. Cool. So something not too dissimilar to that. Let's just correct some further terrain. And then just a bit of soften so that building edge isn't as harsh. Super. So that should give us tons of production and really kind of isolates that workers' barracks out in their plantation, doesn't it? Again, totally doable in vanilla, of course, but you'd have to be much more careful with your measurements. Without the freedom of anarchy to let you do what you want. Oh, I like that. And that should provide us with an absolute ton of resources and worker positions as well. As I say it, it comes, level 4. Perfect. Yeah, we will need to hit the resource so that we're very nearly there for it. And then just a few hundred more workers too. So let's have a look at our engineered wood plant. Probably want 2 of these. I suppose we should begin to factor in maybe a local wood storage as well for all this consumption here. Let's push this in. Let's move down to our industrial roads and we'll begin to map out where we envision the pulp configuration setting. So let's come up this way. I'd like it to be lined up against the road. I think the surrounds of the forestry area should be quite nice today as well. Let's push all this out and then soften it back up again. Didn't really do much there, did it? It's too intent. It's come down on strength. I want to push that out and just soften it. Even push that road back a touch too. Probably even downgrade that to dirt actually now. We can see the yard growing out from behind it, right? Super. That should make it a bit easier to soften out. There we go. So we got some nice rock detailing around here. More fences and whatnot. Quite an impressive sightline, I think, from the interchange, seeing the forestry complex just off the site here. So let's continue to map out our biomass area. You can have a little frontage system here. Maybe bringing that down there. And then that actually looks like a perfect spot for airport apron. Without the tearing of surface painter. Just to push that up to the edge. Super. With the network multi-tool, let's unlock some of these fence-ins. So we use our unlock feature. We can delete, I think, these 3 segments. We can catch that on there. Super. That just opens up a little bit, and then we can align those fences. You can even push those 2 together there on the side angle if you wanted to as well. Which I'm not averse to doing. Yeah, I think that's probably better, right, isn't it? You could repeat that again, you know. The versatility and indeed fusibility of the industry's DLC buildings is quite frightening, I think. Again, let's use Network Multi-Tool. Just want to unlock all this fence around the side. And I reckon here we'll begin to kind of move away from the dirt aesthetic while there's more, I guess, automated manufactured processing going on here. We'll transition into kind of the industry heavy pulp concrete space. And then just have that there. Which kind of gives us that natural little alleyway in the facility as well, doesn't it? In the wood campus. And that'll give us 3 engineered wood plants as well, of course. So from the production perspective, that's going to be quite a nice little hit, I think. Giving us lots of plain timber. Which will one day be exported via the port, we hope. Which we're not too far from trains now, are we? 6,000, 8,000, is it? Yeah. So possibly next episode, we'll hit our train milestone. Yeah, so loads of production. I think I do want storage over here. I think I know where I want it aligned as well, with the very powerful visual, of course, of stacked logs facing onto the main road as people drive past this place. So we'll use probably large log yards, I think. I want 2 of them. I think so. I'll pay for them. If you copy and paste with Move It, you don't pay construction costs. Again, I think I can even see here. Let's get these both lined up and then to the same height. And just so they're exactly where we want them. And then to Network Multi-Tool again, we can open up the log yard in the middle. So it becomes basically a super log yard, right? This is super log yard here. I'm bringing a dirt road to service them. And then they can just go down there. But as we drive past now, hopefully, we're even actually kind of coming uphill down onto the forestry here as well, aren't we, from this ascent? We'll see the pulp mill in a moment's time once level 5 pops. Then also this very awesome visual of the obvious tree plantations too on the hillside, especially with the forestry trucks moving around. And then the visual stacked logs, of course. But already this quite industrial side of the city is really coming together, isn't it? I'm really liking it. Fantastic news on the traffic, considering how much industry we have as our trees burn down. Which is a good point. There's the fire engines. So you guys are coming from the port. You seem to be getting here in time, don't you? Although I imagine this side of the highway will have a dedicated fire station at some point. But all those buildings down, we just got to wait for the workers to tip up to get to level 5, then we can get the pulp mills in and turn our attention to some detailing. So I'll see you at level 5. We are also in need of more power, so I think a geothermal plant is going to join us. This comes from the Green Cities DLC, if you're not aware. And, it's a very nice little power station. And I think that's just going to blend in quite nicely there, isn't it? I'm almost tempted to network multi-unlock again. There we go. And then maybe we'll just mess about with the angular surface painter here. Just, you know, all this can become dirt, the front can stay concrete. This can all stay concrete as well, actually. Interesting. I can just about have it there and it classes as a connection. Let's move it back a little bit. There we go. That still classes as connected. And I hope you agree, it blends in very nice with the forestry assets, doesn't it? So we can produce a little bit of power here as a part of our biomass engineered fused complex. Don't worry about the traffic, they're just filling up the piles once it's sorted, it'll calm down, obviously. And there is level 5 forestry now. Wonderful. Nice and easy to unlock that one. Which gives us, possibly I think, the best industrial looking asset. It's either this or the refinery. But it's so nice. I love this one. And do we also get a new factory with that as well? We've already got the furniture factory down. I think it would have been the printing press, wouldn't it, at level 4? think it unlocked. So it would have been paper factory, probably. I wouldn't have minded this here, but it's very big. And this definitely maybe belongs in and around a port. Not too far off fitting in here, is it, you know? Oh, that's very tempting to put that in there. That sits and fits so nicely against the factory, doesn't it? We'd have to rework the exit road, but that's fine. Maybe one day. Not now. Yeah, I don't think another factory then. I don't think I want to bring another factory in because they all want other industries, and we'll stick strictly to forestry here. Cool. So let's have quite a few of these, right? Possibly 3, but I'm thinking more likely 2. We'll place them down. Now I think the happiest fusing for them is kind of the main tower of the plant back to back. Something like that. I also wonder if we could maybe squeeze in another biomass plant just kind of tucked into the nook and corner here. Let me network multi-unlock all of this fence. And then with all that gone, I think that just sat in the corner there. Opposite our power plant, which... Can we make you connect if we bring you over? Oh, yes, we can. Let's maybe join the building at those 2 seams there. Okay. Which, I think that looks great, doesn't it? Doesn't that look awesome? So a little bit and move it. So powerful for essentially making yourself new unique factories, right? We could even do something similar here with another engineered wood plant. Might be a bit overkill. We've got a lot of processing buildings here, but I'm having fun, so the more the merrier. And I think here we'll go more concrete. Maybe even bringing this into a more industrial looking road as well. Quite a harsh transition. And we'll also do a little one-way exit road here as well. People coming out of this processing and storage. Wouldn't even be against feeding the whole thing into a one-way loop, actually. Guess we'll see. Garbage is piling up. We could include a recycling centre here, but it should be okay. And then, of course, the pulp mill at the back also needs a road connection. We'll just push this through. I wonder if I just want to try something here. If I was to draw a road through and under, just give you your connection. Maybe if I was to bring it over this side so it came out of this door. My idea is that they're kind of going to drive through the factory, you know, through these doors, like there's vehicles coming and going from the plant. Which I don't hate the idea of. It would also allow this to stay connected as well. We'd have to get the road configuration right, I think. I think I'm probably massively overcomplicating this, aren't I? When I can probably just do something not too dissimilar from that. I mean, there's a car about to come through. I don't know, it might be a little... a little too experimental. Maybe. I could node control the road as well, so it kind of narrows to the width of the door. Maybe that'll help me like it a little bit more. Let's bring our stretch down on our green node. And then I'll also shift it over a little bit as well. And this one as well, the red, needs to be reduced in size too. And then also just shift that over a touch. So it's only 67% stretch, but it makes it the same width as the door. I don't know. I think I'll leave detailing egg to decide on that one, as we do begin the detailing, which is now upon us. Lots of fencing, more trees, forestry. props and surface work alongside reworking the terrain so it doesn't look terrible. And decorating the edge of it as we add our first proper specialized industry to Illium. Let's do some detailing and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a detailing review, shall we? And indeed the first views of our first growing traffic jam. This system is about at its limit now, perhaps even a touch overloaded. But further interchanges will follow. Of course, we'll get one down here, this will help relieve a lot of pressure. And I imagine eventually, especially once the downtown kicks in, because this is only going to get busier, especially when there's something on the other side of the water. We'll probably rework these 3 nodes likely into a roundabout system. And again, with this road also eventually having somewhere to go, this will just get busier still. It does move, but it is very busy, so no more through this interchange. It's getting a bit too much. Next episode we'll head down there. But first of all, a wonderful view from the interchange here. Possibly, if I dare say, one of my favourite views of an industry site from an interchange in any city already, I think. Just like the natural fall of it into the production, to the processing. Really nice. Really love this view right here. Coming into it, we have lots of forestry fence, rockwork, overgrowth around the perimeter of the main building, which is at level 5 now at its max size. These do change as the level of the area goes up, by the way, if you weren't aware. There's a warehouse here holding plain timber, since there is 4 engineered wood plants. So there's a lot of it. So we're storing some here, as and when that needs to be siphoned off for production. The log yard is filling up, and I hope you agree, just removing that middle fence gives you a proper big asset, doesn't it? Real chungus log yard. Very nice. Which is really just one mod that's done that, you know, that's basically just network multi-tool. To remove the fence in the middle. Very nice. Over here, some like prop work next to a smaller forestry processing building, which makes for some really nice corner detailing, especially with the little home kind of arrival admin office for the site, if you like, with some Railroads of Japan car parking, which I find a bit more industrial. So I do like the Japanese car parks. Great little content creator pack, that Railroad of Japan one. The engineered wood plant really adds into a whole kind of unique aesthetic around the plant, doesn't it? There's lots of little alleyways created through here now with the joining of the buildings. Workmen with chainsaws here for some reason. You guys are in the wrong part of the forestry site. The trees have already been cut down at this point. Around the side, you've just got all these little sight lines, and you can kind of see through, you know, to other sites. Like, fusing assets together with Move It is such a powerful thing to do with official assets, I think, isn't it? It's, you just essentially create, you know, your own custom assets with it. Network multi-tool fence unlock helps a lot, of course, otherwise there would be fence cutting through all very random places here. Also left a little side entrance. People to come around the back. So really love it. Really love the whole pulp biomass configuration. And this is walkable pathway. There you go. As I say it. Someone walks down it. With just some wood related props and storage, silos and water towers. Geothermal plant is a fantastic complement, I think, to this. I really love how this all sits in. And then of course what we did during the episode has settled in very nicely now. There's a really nice natural crawl up in the processing, isn't there? With the 2 biomass plants, 2 pulp mills, 4 engineered wood plants, and the base game forestry. Really nice sightline that. This is likely our thumbnail today, I think. Not sure. Maybe this one. We'll see. You guys will know already at this point what future egg we'll choose. The processing, this will expand up the hillside as the industry demand increases. So we've got very much a modular forestry design here. Essentially using Move It to copy and paste this pattern as many times as we like. So we'll eventually have this aesthetic here of the very obvious foreign conifers being planted for forestry purposes, repeated up the hillside as and when we want to expand it to earn a bit more money, or just to satiate a bit of industrial demand, maybe when we're not ready to build, you know, a refinery or a fishing wharf or something like that. So a nice little modular design to get involved with. I love the angle here as well. There's a slight swoop down from the highway against the forestry build. It's subtle, but it's there, and it's very welcome. It just kind of comes down the terrain layer here. Already I'm beginning to really love the layers of Illium. As we mentioned during the first episode, this isn't a flat map, but the mods are going to make things so much more buildable, as an example with today's bit here. I love this woman. as she phases through the fence. But yeah, there's the little warnings to say, you know, this isn't public access, despite the fact there's the general public are using it. But we can pretend, right? So just a warning that, you know, it's not a public footpath, it's an industrial forestry site, no public right of way, etc. And then some more vanilla forestry tucked in here, which makes these little tool yards that all spill into each other. Little alleyways through here with more props, and a wonderful little cross site to the highway as well. And then a little swing fence, switching up to some ore fence instead of the forestry. So it looks like it maybe just swings shut at night. Right. And there's a really nice sight line actually. I'll treat you to a brief, cheeky nighttime view. But the view of the pulp mill from the bridge. My word, everyone. Isn't that wonderful? That might be one of my favourite ever industrial sight lines, you know? Like, the kick out of the bridge with the pulp mill and then the descent down into the production side of the industrial site here. Phenomenal sightline. Really like that. Definitely my first favourite sightline of Illium, I think. That'll be, I think, fondly remembered come the final farewell of Illium, won't it? That will feature heavily. We also mentioned possible industrial sightlines from the industrial part last episode. Which we can't quite see it, especially if you're in the park here, you definitely wouldn't see the towers. But us in our godly position of creation, thankfully we can. So we can get the impression, right? We're starting to see these industrial sites form up around this industrial park. Joe, it would be cool actually to make an industrial site line. I'm sure we can do some terraforming here to reveal the forestry site to the industrial park. But maybe out of each of these arches or every entry to the park, we have an industrial site. So almost like the park is here purposely, right? Maybe we can put the soft paper factory here. Something up on the hills, maybe a farm or something over there. And then obviously we've got forestry that way, so we'll look to put our oil refinery maybe here. Maybe we turn this coastline here into our harbour and have the refinery here. So let me know what you think of that idea. While we're also over here, we will watch a bus stop and see how things are getting on. Very nice. There we go. And of course we'll also check in at the in-city bus terminal. There was a comment to say that they'd like to see more older parts of the city during episodes, so I think during the detailing views we'll make a point to kind of jump back to what we did the previous episode and just get a bit of an impression as to how things are going on. In-city bus station, for example. If I can click on it, there we go. What that was about. 21, which is actually lower than it was during the episode. But next episode we're going to start adding in, I think, some more public transit as we move down the coastline, so more things interchanging. Will hopefully make all this busier. But it is really nice as part of the city, isn't it? We've also got some, well, just still the one person who's commuting back and two. Oh, there you go. There are people arriving off the highway. Speaking of the highway, I was looking at this pre-episode. I think I'm going to upgrade all of this to be zonable, much slower road. As a couplet all the way, I think, back to the bridge. And essentially have this couplet system flowing through our downtown area. So it's not highway road, so we can zone on it and decorate it and have Sims walking around it as they essentially. This will be the spine of our downtown road network frame episode, I think. Everything will form from this couplet. So we'll definitely downgrade it to be part of the city centre if you like, so that should also be a lot of fun. To go off on a random tangent about future plans. But otherwise, that will do it for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Lots of fun and modded forestry. We haven't really done one since Thessia, and even then that was themed much more to be sort of a vineyard. So that might have been a farmland, but you can do the same thing with the sapling fields either way. It's the same visual aesthetic whether you go for forestry or farming. I don't think Thessia had a forested area, did it? A forested build? I don't think. I'll go back. Doesn't matter either way. Illium has one now. An enormous shout out to YouTube members and patrons bankrolling these videos with a shout out to our golden egg patrons: Casino, Spartan Angel, Michael W, Bad Wolf, Louis Adlam, Phoenix MD, Blythe, Jamin, and Great Sing. If you would like to get involved in that, there are links down to Instant Gaming and Patreon below. Otherwise, enjoy the cinematics and I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much indeed for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.